It's winter tree week, so I'm getting my layers on, ready to go out exploring winter trees. We've got some brilliant inspiration and ideas for your winter tree week.
I'm not sure I have put on enough layers because it is freezing and there is mud everywhere and the trees all look totally dead. Without its leaves on, the tree does look pretty dead. But what it's done is strip it back, right back to its skeleton, so we can look at the tree in new and different ways in the winter. So if the tree has gone back to its skeleton, our first big discussion question then is, what does the word skeleton mean? What other words mean the same as skeleton? How do you use the word skeleton? Now you've had to think about what the word skeleton means. Why are skeletons so important? To me, the skeleton can be a lot of strength at the support of the start of whatever you're doing, those structures or the blueprints in something. But it also can be the start of lots of layers of something. So we've got this skeleton of the tree left here, but we know it's going to be layered up with blossom in the spring and leaves in the summer. So our third big discussion question is, what other layers in nature can you think of? Because the trees are missing their leaves, they've lost one of their layers, which we normally use to identify them with. So it means we have to look at them again in new and different ways. And our 3, 2, 1 challenge is making you think about that. So can you identify 3 different types of tree still? Without using their leaves, you have to think about other ways we can use to identify the trees. So you're going to have to look closer at different parts of the tree. If you're going outside, you might like to try rubbing the bark on different trees to see the different patterns they give you.
Secondly, can you spot 2 different layers in nature around you in winter? Or you might like to find these on a tree or on the ground, but can you spot 2 different layers? You could even think about how those layers change in the summer or when one layer is taken away, just like when our tree loses its leaves in the winter.
Here's one of my spots of layers, and that is the ivy on the tree on top of the bark, because it makes the tree look like it's alive because it's covered in leaves, but actually it's getting covered in ivy. And if you look up the top, you'll notice there's no leaves, and that's actually where the tree is. So it really makes you see things like how much ivy there is growing all over the trees when the leaves aren't there. Finally, can you spot 1 new winter observation? Can you find something new you might not have noticed before when you're out on a winter walk compared to a summer walk? Personally, for me, coming out for a winter walk is muddy and dirty and cold, but it is worth it because you actually can start to see where everything comes from. And when you come in the springer and see the flowers, and in the summer and see the leaves, it's really magical watching those processes happening. And it's still light and bright, so it's always good getting outdoors. However, it's now time for a nice warm cup of tea, and I've got some brilliant craft activities to keep the children busy while I enjoy it. Our first craft activity is tape resist winter tree painting. And this is thinking about the skeleton of the tree that you can see in winter. There's a handy worksheet on the Twinkle website that you might find helpful too. All you've got to do is stick masking tape down carefully on some paper. Don't stick it too hard because then you'll need to peel it off at the end. And then when you've finished making your tree skeleton, cover your paper in paint however you like. Once your paper is covered in paint, then leave it to dry and carefully peel off the masking tape, revealing a beautiful winter tree picture. For our second craft activity, you might even have time for tea and a biscuit with some abstract tree art. We downloaded the pictures from the Twinkle website. However, you might want to use your own photos, your own observational drawings, and simply get a piece of paper with your tree on and then lay another piece of paper over the top and then draw the shapes you can make out using the tree as your outline. You can try different trees and different shapes. You can colour it however you like, make it as detailed and as abstract, and see what things you can find. This is really fun to use the skeleton of the tree and then building it up with new layers of new pictures, whatever you can see in the tree. So see what you can discover. Our next activity is doing a tree bud dissection. So if you collect a few twigs with some buds on, if you go out for a walk,
And then all you need to do is very carefully, with an adult's assistance, cut open the bud and you can have a look inside and see what different areas you can see inside the bud. You might want to try different buds to see if they have different things inside them and see how they compare and contrast to other ones. This was really fascinating and you might want to draw what you found inside. Looking at buds has inspired our last craft activity of blossoming kindness flowers, as all the buds are growing on the tree now, ready to blossom out in spring. What you need to do is draw a flower on a piece of tissue paper. You might want to use some twinkle templates to help you with that, and then cut out your templates and write messages of kindness inside your flowers. Carefully fold up the petals on your flowers so they form a bud shape. So you have the bottom bit still a bit flat and all the petals are curled round together, just like the bud on a tree. You might even like to put these on your pictures you made earlier, maybe with some blue tack. Then in spring, pick one of the buds of your flowers and put it in some water, just like flowers do, and you can watch your flower blossom and see what lovely messages of kindness you've got.
Thank you so much for joining me for Exploring Nature with Children Winter Tree Week. I'd love to see what you've been up to, so do share in our Twinkle Home Educators Facebook group, where you can also find extra inspiration for home education. The amazing thing about Winter Tree Week as well is I've noticed even more lichen on the trees with the leaves no longer there, and you can find out more about lichen in our Lichen Week video. We look forward to seeing you again soon for more nature fun.